Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Kenos Plays Thronebreaker Leaders because he's upset about the state of Nilfgaard in Gwent. My name is Kenos, and this is the Thronebreaker leader that I am playing today because I am upset about the state of Nilfgaard in Gwent. Sure, I could go to make a new deck, pull up Anna, or any of the other rather excellent Nilfgaard leaders right now. I could go to just cards that I own. I could start clicking things like Roach and Leo and Sarret and all that good stuff and make a, good standard deck that all of you have probably seen before involving Nilfgaard. Basically, more or less do it by heart at this point. We've all, well, maybe not these guys. We've suffered through it. We have played against it time and again, and no offense if you enjoy it. I like that Nilfgaard does have a deck that is, relatively consistent. I'm getting screwed over by having ignored this guy over and over again because apparently we like Toussaint Knight at this point. 5 miscellaneous cards that I either don't own, don't think about this particular instance, or are flexible. Seen some decks running various things, spies, Imperial Brigades, all that sort of stuff. I know that there's a few of the Crimson Curse cards I don't have yet that people like in these sorts of decks, but we're not going to be doing that today. Or at all, at least until they change Nilfgaard like they said they're going to be working on. So instead we're playing a trap deck. I saw Flake running on YouTube. You should go check him out. I'm sure most of you know him already, though he doesn't get many views on his videos, so you guys should change that. And this is something that I'm trying to learn for the sake of winning with Thronebreaker leaders. You've got your glitched pictures, so I'm going to back out and reload, and hopefully it'll work. Okay. You've got your trap package, Pitfall Trap, Mahakam Horn, Crushing Trap, Incinerating Trap. You've got some standard elf stuff going on, specifically to try to get some huge tempo out of Eldain, using Call of the Forest, comboed with Fauve if you manage to get that, to pull out good elves like Millen, Yorvith, Kyrian, or, do some movement shenanigans. Crushing Trap, of course, is a very good swipe tech kind of card. And you can line people up with the Dragoon or Assyrian for that. The main way this deck works is you win round 1, or try to the best of your ability, kind of like the Gurnikora deck we were running last week. And then in round 3, you play Milva, Sethenthesis, and Mahakam Horn, and then get 9+ points off of Eldain after you play a bunch of traps, and have a ton of points and hopefully win. Great Oak can help with that as well, but I've been recently blowing it a lot in round 1. We'll see. I've only won a couple of times with this deck. The thing about traps is you really got to get into your opponent's head, figure out what they're probably running, and how long they're going to hold on to it. You can also do some fun things like using Yorvith to play Pitfall Trap a couple of times. According to Flake, this deck loses quite a lot to big monsters. I can confirm that. You just don't have the points, is the simple answer for that. You can possibly win round 1, but then you've blown most of your options. Round 2, they just play two spear tips, and you're screwed. And I have some concerns about Nilfgaard in this as well, but we can address those as we get to them. So we'll see if this works. We'll see if it doesn't work. Only 4 more days left in the season. I did finally hit Prestige rank 1 though, so I'm happy about that. Maybe get to open some additional kegs now. Get some more of those rares. May start opening more Crimson Curse stuff. Lately I've been doing more classics just to try to pull good basic stuff. Ooh, a Dettlaff. Alright, I haven't seen a
Allow
Dettlaff
me
in a
to
long
play
time.
you an elven folk tune.
Alright, so to mulligan in this first phase, you're looking for Crushing Traps and Horn. Horn just because you want to have it for round 3. Okay, so this is okay. You want to get rid of your bronzes early on with this deck. Elven Scout can combo into Crushing Trap. We've got a lot of elves in this hand, so that's really good. And we have Call of the Forest for a good combo that I can show you later. So I think we're okay with this. The big issue, of course, being Dettlaff as a person, is that he can chip us away. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it.
I shall not fail.
There's a lot of combo potential in this deck, should you play it correctly, which we do not do yet. It also, unfortunately, is quite easy to give monsters all the dominance in the world they want. We may just play our next Neophyte and then buff it up. We don't really want to play the Dragoon just yet. And Elven Scout we probably want to save for the Crushing Trap combo. So we'll do this
Now we will see who is weak.
maybe with 7 points. Get a little bit going here. So next turn, basically, no matter what we play, unless he plays something small, we will get Eldain out on the board, which will be a nice point swing for us. Okay. Yeah, so we may actually wait a turn here and play Crushing Trap. Let's do that instead. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to jump out of the round, nah. He could have a giant to throw that, which is fine, I guess. Let's just get our elf girl out.
With humans, I buy that.
All right, turn ends. Out comes elf girl.
We shall drive the ape men into the sea.
She's got some good lines. Now, the fun thing with Eldain here is that if you play her with Call of the Forest, you'll pull out an elf, and so assuming you still have 5 elves, she'll come back. Okay, yeah, so he's Cyclopsing, which is fine. I mean, we're up by a number of points. He thought for half a second there about Dettlaffing. I do believe we'll play a Crushing Trap here. I think he'll pass off that. But, you know, I've been wrong before. The nice thing about this deck as well is that it has a lot of quick passes as long as you don't have a trap on the board, because Eldain's ability doesn't work unless you have a trap on the board. Alright, so like I said in the beginning, we want to push round 1 as much as possible here. Ooh, he's trying to set up his own row shenanigans, maybe. Alright, so while we did say earlier that we wanted to play Elven Scout to get the trigger off, I think we're going to play the Dragoon instead. That will play into any sort of row damage she might have with a any sort of swipe. But, well, actually, no. Let's play Broccolon Sentinel instead. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll do that. Get the thinning out. We get more points this way than what we would have done otherwise. So we're pretty far ahead. We'll see if he decides to pass here. He could go another card or two deep if he wants to. which is his prerogative. An issue that can come up with this deck that I've discovered is that you may get Eldain out when you don't necessarily need her. Ooh, Gregor. Fair enough. He keeps thinking about whether or not to use that lovely ability of his. So now here comes part of the problem with this deck is that, you know, you start to run out of cards that you kind of want to play. We can combo here. Like I said, we may actually do that to force him out of the round. The other thing about Eldain is that you generally don't need all 4 of his charges because there just aren't enough. You don't want that many traps in the world. So we'll do this, get ourselves 3 points, and then we will do Call of the Forest on this. Get ourselves Millane. And she is ranged.
Some things cannot be forgiven.
Alright, so that's a very powerful turn, obviously.
Humans
Look
to
at this.
sea!
16 points. He's going to pass. I would hope. Yeah. So you win round 1. Good stuff. Now, another thing this deck loses to is artifact removal, which sometimes monsters are running. So we're going to have to keep an eye out for that. Okay. We want the movement for traps. I don't really like Elven Scout. She can be bait for removal, but once we have our immune dudes out, it's fish here. Yorvith's good. Okay, so we're getting stuff rolling here. We aren't a deck that can really push round 2. I mean, we could, but it's best to maintain for a long round 3. Longer the round 3, the better Milva and Great Oak get. So we're going to pass. And of course this is me acting like I'm an authority on this when Flake's the one who made the deck. But based on what Flake said. Alright. So immediately the concern is, like I said, artifact removal. I'm glad we draw. Okay, so we need Synthesis here. 2 cards to get her. Beautiful. So what else can we get from our deck? 5 cards. Kieran, more traps. We'll kick Elven Scout for a chance to get one of those. Another trap. Okay. So again, this is where you start trying to kind of outthink your opponent and also be scared of artifact removal. I lost a game to a monster yesterday because the recommended opening is to play Mahakam Horn. That's annoying. Is to play Mahakam Horn to scare your opponent into thinking it's something more sinister, and so then they play some crap card, and, you know, whatever, there goes your momentum. Unfortunately, though, that also could lead to removal. So it's a question of how serious is this Detlef player in terms of being scared of things. We might play the Incinerating Trap here, just to see if we bait that out. Alternatively, we can just play the Boar. Or we could play Milva. We might actually do Milva into Boar here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do Milva into Boar. We can try to bait out with Horn later.
Never have.
And hopefully he's not running Predatory Dive. The other problem with this deck, of course, is this is not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic, where you can set traps and play cards. So you can't really combo things very well with this, unless it's using your hero ability. Of course, Milvas can also be in trouble when it comes to things like Weather or Predatory Dive. I don't think a deck like this would be running Predatory Dive, though. especially not when his first play is Werewolf. And you know, now we're seeing the power of these immune units. Okay, so now we don't necessarily need Horn right away, so we will play the Incinerating Trap, I think. Make it look like it is Horn, maybe. And we want to stack the melee row here so that Great Oak gets a lot of value. And you know, if he has some other weak Thrive unit, killing a Thrive unit with a trap is not bad. Yeah, that's fine. Now, getting out the Synthesis may be the next best play because we want to get a tall unit out to stop any sort of domination ability he has. So we'll throw out the Mother of Dragons here, Dragon Queen, which buffs up Milva. It's all very good. I do miss Yorvith's old ability from the beta. Deal damage, boost all elves in your hand. It just feels very natural for him to have a damage ability rather than just creating traps. But you know, this is when some combos can start. Like, I could do a lot of crazy stuff with Mahakam Horn. Play it down, flip it, bounce it with Yorvith, play a Pitfall Trap. I feel like Pitfall Trap might be what we want to bounce a couple of times here. We could... Okay, whatever. Okay, so he played the boost first. It's possible he has the damage one in his hand. But he only played one of these, so the boar's fine coming out. So we'll play the boar as a ping ability first. See what he does. The Trident Boar is a very nice engine, but it's one that we can live without. At this point, we're just playing units to try to boost Milva up as much as possible. We do have 4 traps with only 3 charges, so we won't get necessarily full value here. Okay, yeah, so now he's going to play the next Witch. He did that in the wrong order, though, which he might be realizing. I have to imagine that's why he just did that. Yeah, okay, so the Banish effect wasn't necessarily worth it for him there. Alright, so now we'll play Pitfall Trap and pretend it's Horn. And we'll see how he feels about that. Yep. See? Got him. He was saving it for Horn. Or didn't know what Pitfall Trap is. Alright, so we did that. Now we'll play Yorvith.
I am who I need to be.
Bounce the Pitfall Trap. And play Horn now. Now, if he has 2 instances of artifact removal, we're in trouble. But I don't think anyone runs 2 instances of artifact removal except for no unit decks. And even then. Yeah, gotta look out for those monsters. They're teching Nithril a lot more lately. Okay. So now he knows it's not Pitfall Trap. So now we'll play Crushing Trap. He'll think it's Pitfall Trap. Will we, though? Hang on. So we play a card, he plays a card, we play a card. We'll Pitfall Trap his last thing. Alright, yeah, let's do this. This will theoretically get his last bad card out of his hand. Oh. Or he does that instead. Okay. I suppose that's something else I should be, you should consider. So we can play the Dragoon here to get another 2 points of value out of the Crushing Trap. Alternatively, we could play Pitfall Trap. I think we're going to play Pitfall Trap. Risk not getting the extra 2 points of value, if only because Pitfall Trap... Well, no. Pitfall Trap can be a dead card. It's fine. Get those 2 points.
Onward, Fryhead!
Alright. Crushing Trap value. Thank you. Now he finally has a card that he can target with abilities. Again.
A word once spoken,
But,
never break.
you know, see, it's fine. Alright, so now, unless the last card in his hand is another spell, Pitfall Trap should destroy it.
Let's get this over.
Okay. So 3 points of value isn't great. And now he's going to have to pass, unless he wants to just... Yeah, so now Horn gets us up to 23. Play Great Oak. And we pass. So yeah, that was about as well as you can expect that to go.